Okay, welcome back. Still in the room that we built in the last tutorial, simple room. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a player start. Now what will the player start do? Well, the player start will tell the game where we want our player to spawn. Now, if you had 10 players in a map, you should have, if you design a map for 10 players, my apologies, you should really have 10 player start points, because if more than 10 players got on, you'd encounter spawn fragging or telefragging, where one person spawns in one place and someone immediately spawns over the other player and kills them. And yeah, it could get messy, and there's nothing worse than, you've just spawned and already you're dead and someone got a point off that. It's not really nice, so you need to make sure you have enough spawn points for the amount of players you want your level to hold. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a player start point, and it's very simple. What we do is we right click and it brings up our entities menu. Now this menu will give us every entity that is available for us to use in Alien Arena. For example, we've got ammo here, bullets, cells, grenades. We've got our functions, doors, secrets, rotating objects, platforms and things like that. We've also got info, and we see here this is where our player starts are, and info not nulls and nulls. That they're technically used for targeting things like lasers or stuff like that. Lasers are pretty cool. Items, item armors, your death balls, flags, haste, health, things like that. Lights, miscellaneous, and you've got basically a load of different things throughout this entities menu that you can use. Okay, so we're going to add a player start. Now that's under info. Now if you're building a team map for like capture the flag and things like that, you would use player blue and player red, and you place the blue ones in the red, the blue ones in the blue base and the red ones in the red base, and that's how it works. In deathmatch, what we're going to do is we're going to use info player deathmatch, and we simply click that and you'll see it appear. It's like this pink box. Now what you do is you position it off the floor, and maybe we'll put one in the corner there, and we'll copy and paste one, and we'll put another one here, because this is going to be a 3-player map. So we've got a player point there, there, and one in that room there. So what you can also do is choose the way that the players are pointing when they first spawn. Now you see that little arrow sticking out the front? It's quite hard to see, but you can just make it out there in the camera window. You've got that arrow. Well, what you can actually do is shift click the player start and choose the y-axis, the z-axis rotate, and wherever that arrow points is the direction that the player is going to spawn facing. So we'll point that one that way, and we'll point him that way, and we'll point this guy who spawns in this room, we'll point him so he can see out of the vent, or the duct. So they can all see now where they're spawning. This guy in here will spawn there, and he'll be able to look through and see them straight away. This guy will spawn facing this wall, and this guy will spawn facing this wall. So they'll see each other first, and if you're lucky enough to spawn in there, you may be undetected for a minute. It gives you a bit of an advantage. It's just the lottery. It's just luck. If you spawn in there, very cool. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to add in a weapon. Now we'll put a weapon in this room here. It's very simple to do. We choose, we right click into the room, and then we choose weapon. We can choose a weapon from the bottom. Oops, the autosave kicked in. That's one thing that will happen when the autosave kicks in. It will make these menus disappear if you're working in them, so be careful. Yeah, we go down to weapon and we'll insert a shotgun, and we'll place that there, and we'll maybe move it about a little bit so it's more central to that little room. So that's a shotgun that will appear as a gun just floating, and players can go and grab that. We'll place another one over here. We'll put the rail gun in, so you can see that is there. We'll drag that over to this way, so both players have got ample opportunity to run and grab this weapon as soon as they spawn. Okay, so we've got 2 weapons. Now we need a way to allow these players in the map to see what's going on. Otherwise, I mean, basically, this is like being in a room with no lights. Although we can see it now, it's just lit at its regular default lighting without shadows and things like that. So what we need to do is we need to add a light into the room. We right click, choose light, and we set it a value. Then we drag it up out the way. Make sure you don't have the light sticking outside of the world, because if you have it outside of this room, the map will never ever compile. The compiler will complain that the map is leaked, and you run into all sorts of troubles looking for rogue lights and holes in the map. Okay, and what we'll do now is we'll add a brush above that light, and we'll give it a light texture so it looks like that's our light displaying. It's actually got something behind it. It's not just a light appearing out of nowhere. So what we'll do is we'll zoom in and we'll create this brush. I'll just make it almost square. I don't have to be very particular about it right now. If you were doing this and you wanted to release this map, you'd want to make sure that you had a decent size, and you want to make sure you had it perfect, basically. Right now it's 50 by 59, so you know what, screw it, we'll good practice to get into. We'll make it perfectly square. Okay, now we want to texture this, so we shift click, control shift click this one face, press texture, and we find a light texture. I think what we'll do is we'll use this one from earlier on. Do you remember this one? Light 3. We'll use that, and again we go back to the surface inspector as we did in the previous videos. We'll horizontally shift it and we'll vertically shift it to get it looking in a nice area. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously these sides can all be textured individually, so we can do that now. We'll go around and we'll select them faces, control shift click in them to select, and then we'll put a simple texture on. We'll put floor 3 so it matches in a little bit more with the ceiling, and then we'll drag the light up a little bit closer so it looks like we've got some type of light in the room that's emitting, some type of physical object emitting this light, so it just doesn't look like the light's appearing from nowhere. You could play about with it and you could add a load of different things into this map, but that's a very simple way of creating a map and using subtraction brushes, and as we covered in the last video, and also placing entities within the maps. We're going to continue with this map in the next video, and what we're going to look at now is placing doors, or sorry, not doors, that's later. We'll look at using translucent textures or transparency and things like that. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.